Hey loves, it's your girl Queen A. So I hope y'all enjoying this lovely, what's today? Wednesday? Yeah, Wednesday. I always get my days mixed up. But I know in Cincinnati it's snowing, so wherever y'all at, I hope it's not. But today we are talking about how your environment shapes your confidence. So this whole week we have been talking about confidence. So, and I do apologize for yesterday. And but since I was off yesterday, I will give y'all an extra day. So, well, not an extra day, but I will fill that day in. So Friday I'll be live as well. Okay. So let me just tell y'all how strongly environment shapes your confidence. Right. So let me just tell y'all a story about me when I was younger. Right. So I remember back in the days when I was young. And if you don't know me, I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio. I don't know where y'all watching from, but but I grew up in Winton Terrace and the west side, right, Westwood area. So what happened is this, like in Winton Terrace, that's like the largest, what is the largest, that's the largest hood in Cincinnati. I seen a lot of sadness. Don't get me wrong, we had some house parties and everything, but let me tell you, I used to get together with my friends. We used to do some stuff, right? We used to be like, just be bad, and then people was, we would fight people, we got jumped, all types of stuff. Um, so what that does in my mind is it already got me start looking at people differently. You see, it already had me having a guard up towards certain things. So what happens is, if like I'm pretty sure if y'all was raised in the hood, y'all can relate, right? So a lot of times when you're raised in a certain environment, it shapes your thinking. Like for instance, let me tell you, like I don't watch the news, right? I do not watch the news. So people get on me because I don't watch the news. But one thing I've learned throughout the process is I don't watch the news because everything in the world has happened. So before. So there's nothing happening in the world that hasn't happened before. So anything, whether it's negative, especially if it's negative, right? Or so what happens is our brain, when I watch the news, my brain automatically, when I would get in the car, some people would walk past, I would automatically lock the door. Like, right? Because if you notice, instead of the news coming on positive, when they know most people are tuning in, what do? When the news first comes on, it's showcasing a lot of negativity. So what happens is, theoretically, in your brain, it triggers a switch. So you start thinking more negative because you're seeing and you're feeding and you're implanting a lot of negativity in your mind. So a lot of times you can start putting people in categories. You'll look at certain people and think, oh, they're terrorists, or they're negative, or they're positive, or they're this, right? So that's what really happens when you watch the news. There's no such thing as positive news. I don't care, right? But that is one thing that's part of how the environment shapes your confidence. So guess what? By me not watching the news, I went from every time somebody walked past, ready to lock my door and just thinking so negatively, to now I don't even think about all that because I don't watch all that. So I'm not ready to lock my door as soon as somebody come in, or I'm not, like, oh my gosh, I need to go buy this to stay protected, or it just takes different negative thoughts out your mind because I focus on more positive. So by me watching more positive things and doing more positive things and being around more positive people, what happens is more positive thinking starts going through my mind. Now, do I have my days? Yes. Let me tell you now, I definitely have my days, okay? So don't think I don't, but I have to talk to myself throughout them days as well. So that is one thing. And also, I really want y'all to understand your environment that you put yourself in will dictate your confidence. So So have you ever heard the term birds of a feather flock together? That is so true. Let me tell you now, you can't expect to try to grow or do anything. Let's say like me. Back in the days, well, I remember when I was hanging out all the time, I was going out. Like every weekend I was ready to go out. We used to go to Biff's downtown. I'm talking about I would be in a mirror jam and like, I'm talking about Queen A would get down, right? That was just me, right? Hey, boo. You send stars by clicking on the link. I commented on, I believe. I'm not sure. I'm sorry, boo. So, but what happened is I used to go out all the time, right? And I used to be like, hey. And I used to be at Biff's all the time, like jamming, you know. That was my thing. That's what I did. And we would go out drinking and all that. But what happened is that's what I started looking forward to, right? It kept me trapped from looking forward to other things, right? Or being around other things, or maybe having positive influences, because all I wanted to do was go out. All I wanted to do was party and get the bag. That's it. That was just me. I just want to go out. I want to party. I want to have some fun. But I'm going to tell y'all this. What that does is, if you don't have somebody in your ear, make sure you have somebody in your ear that's telling you, hold on. Yeah, we can, let's go out and party when we got something to go celebrate. You know, ain't nothing like partying and you ain't accomplished nothing. You know, that's one thing I looked up. And before I knew it, I was 17, then I was 18, and I was 20, and I was 30, and now I'm 40. And it's like, you look up, and so much time has passed you by because of the environment that I had allowed myself to be in and dwell in. So, and I say this to say, because don't forget, I help teens and parents and teachers build that relationship, right? I built that gap. Help them build confidence, respect for each other. There's no link you can show me later, but oh, okay. Love you more. So when you're raising teens, and teachers, this go for you all too, whether you're dealing with teens, youth in general. Let me tell y'all this. Your environment is so important. And I really want to stress this, especially nowadays where we have so many teens and kids passing away. Our job as a parent or a teacher or a youth service worker is to protect our teen or our youth. Your home is the most important place. So let me tell you this, if your teen or your youth, if every time they have to go home is negativity and they have to see so much violence and so much destruction, and I know because I've been there, right? Let me just tell y'all, the worst mistake I think I made for my younger son was moving into the hood that I grew up in, right? So when I got older, I moved back to Twin Terrace. Yeah, because it was so easy to get in. And I was like, you know, I was looking for a place and it was so easy to get in. And I can remember that's okay, boo, you can laugh. So I can remember when I got the place, I got it in one day. They told me, oh, just bring everything back. Make sure you bring everything back. As long as you got everything, your background check, you can get a key. I was so excited, right? I'm like, yeah, I just want a place, da-da-da. And I got that key. But then, throughout that whole process, that was the worst mistake I made. And I'm going to tell you why. Because that's when I introduced my youth to a whole lot of negativity. My youth started seeing people, you know, like, I remember one day we walked out to our car and we had guts, like mixed in blood next to the car. That's something that no teen or child should have to go through, right? I remember we used to, you know, you can look out the window, people be shooting in the air or anything like that. You know, then you got to duck down because people shooting. That right there is a negative environment. And we got to understand that when we are putting our children and our youth through that, it speaks volumes and it makes them have to grow up and do things that they normally probably would never do. So instead of a child being a child, instead of a child playing a video game or enjoying life and laughing or, you know, doing the little silly, stupid things that we used to do, right? You know, run around, knock on people's doors. Y'all know we used to do that. We used to call a nigga knocker, knocking on people's doors, running or egging people's doors, you know, being a kid. You know, what happened is kids had to start playing with guns because they start seeing so much violence and so much negativity. And then they got so much fear installed in them. And from the rap, between the rap, the news, and their environment that they're in. So your environment can be what you watch, what you listen to, and also where you're located at. You have 3 points of your environment. What you put in your mind, what you perceive, which is what you see, right? And also where you decide to locate yourself. Now, let me just say this. As an individual, we all have hard times. So sometimes you got to do what you don't want to do to get where you want to be. Right? Oh, I still love you more, boo. Right? So if that's you, right? And you like, oh, you know what? Sometimes like me, I had to go through that to get to where I am now. Even though I hate it, but I'm glad because it got me established for this moment right here. Because I'm telling you now, my kids have, we've been in the hallway, seen people get shot over 50 cents. 50 cents. So these are things that you have to understand, that when you are putting your child in these environments, or you putting yourself in this environment, it dictates your confidence level. What happens is, your confidence that you would have had if you wouldn't have seen none of that, that could have been up here, goes down to here. Because now guess what? You're thinking about, am I going to live to see this day? Right? Am I going to make it? Am I important? Do I matter? You know, all the violence that's coming around, all the negativity. You know, you're not thinking about being successful, you know, getting your education, you know, growing, being respectful, having values, right? Because you're not seeing none of that stuff. So y'all have to understand, your environment speaks a lot to your confidence level, which is a lot of why a lot of these young children don't think that they're going to make it to a certain age. Why? Because it's the environment that they're in. It's not that you think the kids don't want to make it to be 58, 75, 85, 86, 98. Yes, they do. If you can ask any child, I could bet any amount of money they do. But it's the environment that they're in that's sending them the message that, hey, I might not make it to see 16. I might not make it to see 18. Hey, don't nobody really care about me. I ain't worth nothing. That's the message that they're seeing out there. Or in order for me to be important, I need to rap, carry a gun, things of that nature. So I'm telling y'all this to tell y'all that was wonder for me as a mom. This is why I speak about this. Your environment is your biggest determination on where your confidence level at. Because I'm going to tell you now, it took me so long because of the environment I was in and that I allowed myself to be in. I put myself in an environment where all I seen was a lot of negativity. And then not only that, I had myself around things that was not positive. You know, people that just wanted to parlay. Like, you know what I mean? And which nothing's wrong with that, but that's not where I needed to be. So the difference is, right now I try to involve myself and put myself, and I try and put myself around positive individuals. I listen to positive things. I watch positive things. That's my environment. I even move to have a more peaceful mindset. That's my purpose. That's my confidence. Because guess what? If it's not peaceful, if it's too much drama, too much negativity, guess what's going to happen? My confidence level going to go from here to here because I'm going to be aggravated, frustrated, depressed. All types of things can go on. Then it makes you start doing things that you probably normally wouldn't do. So I want y'all to understand, when I say your environment speaks a lot to your confidence level. And if you have teens or you have youth, as a parent, as a teacher, and when it goes to teachers, let me explain this. An environment when it comes to teaching settings is this. If you're a teacher, when a child comes to school, they should be in a learning environment, right? It shouldn't be an environment to where you're allowing that child to feel fearful of anything or anyone. It shouldn't be an environment to where when that child goes to school, they feel disrespected. It shouldn't be an environment to where that child feels left out, where that child feels unheard, where that child feels like they're not learning. So don't get me wrong, the school is an environment as well, teachers. So your job as a teacher, I don't care what you're teaching. I don't care if you're teaching at a rec center, at a school, or wherever you're teaching at. Your job as a teacher is to make sure that your students are feeling safe, they're comfortable, you're answering their questions, right? That they can learn. That's your job. That's the environment that they need to be in. Nowadays, it's like everything is so focused on just nothing important. Like schools are focused more on TikTok or being a child's friend and learning. And this is what I see. Parents are more focused on being a child's friend than the environment, than teaching the child, than telling them that they're worth something. It's so many parents out here that get to the bag, but they don't get to their children's morals, values, and respect. That's a problem. Because if you're more worried about a bag than where your child morals, values, and respect level at, then that's part of the problem. I can tell you right now, that's why a lot of these kids feeling lost. When I speak to these children and I ask them, you wouldn't imagine the stuff when you speak to these kids, what they going through. A lot of them feel like don't nobody care about them. They don't have nobody. I never thought that so many kids would feel like they don't have nobody. But that is due to the environment. So we have to change that as people. We have to change that spirit, especially as a parent, teacher, or youth service worker. You can't have a child feeling like they're not important. So your job is to make sure that as a parent, wherever you stay, it should be comfortable for your child. You shouldn't stay where your child feel like they have to carry a gun, because a lot of people, they get mad, oh, this child was carrying a gun. But then when you look at some of these kids' situations, some of them are into it with people who they got to walk with past every day. Some of these kids in school scared to say something because we didn't have this as a child. We didn't have to worry about somebody shooting us. Some of these kids so terrified because if they just say the slightest thing to somebody in their school, they might get shot. Or they have to walk past somebody every day in their hood and something may happen. So we have to understand, before we keep judging these youth, let's judge our parenting as adults. Let's judge our teaching. Let's judge ourselves. Are we putting our youth in an environment that's safe for them? And if not, why? Why ain't we fighting to do that? Right? Like I said, it's exceptions. Sometimes you have to do what you have to do. Like I said, when I came back to Cincinnati from Kentucky, the first thing I did was I was looking for a place, and I hurried up, and I was so excited, that I could move in Wind Terrace in one day. But then I found out why I was able to move in Wind Terrace in one day. Because everybody's moving out. They got too much drama. It's too much negativity. I never went around knocking on so many mothers' doors in my life about my daughter. Right? Now, don't get me wrong, the people was looking out for me. Like I had little people, the people in the hood around my door, they look out for my kids and all that. But in return, guess what? We had to hear, gunfire. We seen blood guts on the by the car. My kids seeing people get shot, walking past dead bodies. These are things that we had to experience. And I would never want them to experience that. Yeah, we all have to go through some things, but some things we shouldn't have to go through. So that diminishes a child's confidence level drastically. If the only thing you was raised was seeing negativity, violence, and gunshots, and and you smoking and your guns on your hip, and that's the only thing you ever had perceived or put in your mind or was told as a child, what do y'all think that confidence level is? That child confidence level goes from here to down here. To down here. All of a sudden that child wants to carry guns. That child, I'm going to die anyway. Shoot, it don't matter. Don't nobody care about me anyway. That's how they start thinking. So this is why I go on here. This is why I go to the schools, and this is why I do what I do. Let's get together, building confidence. Let's get together. Getting these youth together. Let's change our environment. Let's start telling kids that they matter. Let's come together. as a village. I remember it took a village to raise a child. Now don't nobody want nobody to say nothing to their kids. I challenge you to change that thinking. I challenge you to, if you know you're in a messed up situation, right? Because as a parent, we know. We know if our environment messed up and it's not right for our youth. As a teacher, you know if your classroom is friendly, right? And when I mean friendly, I mean like learning friendly for your team, for your student. You know. So that means you know if you're doing TikToks all day instead of teaching. You know. You know if you sitting there and letting other kids in your class get picked on and you ain't saying nothing. You know. And as a parent, you know if your environment that you live in is not safe for your child, but you choose to stay there anyway because it's cheaper. I know so many people. I remember a friend of mine, I asked her. She stayed in the hood, been staying in the hood her whole life. And I said, Dad, you ain't stayed nowhere? Nah, I stayed in the hood. And I asked, like, why? And she said, because, shoot, this is what I can afford. I know I can afford this. And when I heard that, for me, it was like, wow, I don't want to ever get to that level. That's why I say environment. She had been in that environment so long that that's all she thought she could afford. Now she goes to work. She has income coming in, but she thinks that's all she can afford. So that's where she stays. Older than me, I'm 40. She got to be like pushing 50, 45. But just to hear the mind frame. Like, you know, that's why I say environment plays a big role. It's a lot of people that don't even want their paycheck to go up because they so comfortable in the environment and we're getting food stamps. And that's okay. You get food stamps, that's okay. But don't cheat yourself to continue to get it. Because if it stopped, then what? That's why I say environment. Because guess what? If you grew up around people that was worried about their credit, that was always positive, that just, you know, about business, and that was on it, then guess what you would be doing? More than likely, you'll be about your business, taking care of your credit, and you will be on it as well. You wouldn't be thinking about, you know, you wouldn't be fearful of nobody coming up to you with a gun or things like that. You would be less fearful, right? Because you wouldn't have been brought up in that environment. That's why I say environment really speaks to your confidence level. A lot of y'all don't have no confidence level, or y'all stressed or y'all depressed because y'all have allowed yourself to be in a certain environment for so long, and now you grown, you think you got to stay there because that's what you're comfortable with. And I'm here to tell you, that's where you mess up at. As an adult, your comfort level should be growing, but with that, you have to grow out of your environment. You have to change your environment in order to grow. So if you're still in the same environment that you was in when you was 14, 15, and 16, then that's where your confidence level lies. You see how that works? A lot of y'all been in the same hood since y'all was 15, and you happy to be there. You happy. You know? Matter of fact, I know people that's 50 years old still claiming the hood, that if the government tore down, you going to another hood. How that makes sense? Y'all claiming hoods that don't even belong to you. I don't claim a hood. You know? Now, I tell you where I grew up at. If you ask me where I'm from and all that, yeah. But I don't claim a hood. You know? I'm not like, oh, I'm West Terrace bound or I'm Westwood bound. I don't do that. That's environment. We have to get out of that. That speaks a lot about your mind frame. I know a lot of people that's still in the same spot they was when I was 15. Why? Because they've been there for so long, they don't feel like they can get out of that situation. Mind frame, environment. Or some people is in a certain situation, they still in their environment because they scared to leave the people behind because they done got so comfortable and they done grew up with these people and they scared of what life gonna be like if they ain't around these people, if they don't have this circle around them. That's a lot of y'all. A lot of people got this circle around them and they so scared of what life gonna be like without that circle that they can't succeed. I'm just saying, we have to get out of that. We have to get out of that. In order for you to grow, you're going to have to be able to do it by your lonesome. Because one thing I'm learning in life, you will think somebody right there, and just like that, they'll be gone. So what you going to do? You going to back away, or you going to keep going? Is you going to excel, or is you going to backpedal? So that environment speaks a lot to your confidence level, whether you want to believe it or not. A lot of y'all believe what you believe, but based on your environment. So, like for instance, I can tell you now, a lot of y'all believe in, oh, we need more guns because of your environment. Because guess what? Every time you watch the news, something coming on about somebody shooting somebody or doing this or doing that, and then you watching things and you seeing things that's making you think that, oh, I need to go pick up a gun myself. But we don't think about the logic of it. More guns equal more killings. You see that? I'm a logical thinker. Now, I wasn't always a logical thinker. Don't get it twisted, right? I wasn't always a logical thinker. But I'm telling you now, in order for you to grow, you got to be a logical thinker. And if you want your youth to grow, your teen to grow, and that is the most important, you have to make sure that you are aware of the environment that you're putting them in. And don't be scared to, if that environment is not safe that they're in, to change the environment. You ever heard that saying that if you can't change the people around you, change the people around you? Now, let me break that down. If you can't change what's going on around you or how the people are acting around you, then you need to take yourself out that environment and change the people who you are around and change what's happening around you. Why did they say that? Because that speaks to your confidence level, right? If you hang out with 10 drug dealers, pretty much you're going to be the 11th. Pretty soon you keep hanging with them. If you hang out with 10 crackheads, pretty soon you're going to start sniffing crack or smoking crack, whatever you do, right? And if you hang out with 10 people that don't want to work or do nothing for the rest of their life, then guess what? You're going to be the 11th person that do that. If you hang out with successful people that want to be successful and business people, pretty soon you're going to be successful and you're going to be a business person. That's just the way it works, whether you like it or not. Right? And I apologize for my camera. We'll be getting a better setup and better camera and everything real soon. But I want y'all to understand your environment, right, Brian? Your environment. Brian Brookins said real talk, right? This is the truth. Whether you want to believe it or not, your environment is where your confidence level lies. A lot of y'all stressed, but y'all scared to take yourself out of their environment. A lot of y'all mad at y'all kids, but y'all scared to take them out of their environment. So, I ask you what you going to do. Is you going to stay there? Or is you going to move along and move forward? So, this is what I help do. I help teach people how to change their environment, right? It's certain steps we do to change our environment, right? The first thing is, like I keep saying, you got to strengthen this. And I'm going to say this again. You got to read, watch, or listen to something positive every day. Every day, every day, every day, every day, every day. Every day when you get up. So, this is what I want y'all to understand. That's part of changing your environment. If you don't like what's going on around you, you don't like what you see every time you walk out your door, you need to change it. You don't like what your youth have to see and walk past when they walk out the door, you need to change it. It's up to you, only you can change it. That's it. Well, my name is Queen A. I hope y'all got something from this. I'll be live again tomorrow at noon. And remember this. If don't nobody else love y'all, y'all already know. Queen A does. But before we end this live, don't forget, I have a Each One Motivates One community. That's a Facebook group. It's a private group where we come together. And now it's starting in February. I'll be going live on there. I'll be giving assignments. I'll be doing all types of stuff. We'll be coming together as a group, as a whole, and help motivate and support each other. So if you want to join that group, simply put add me down there in the comments, or you can put add me in my inbox, whichever one you're more comfortable with. Okay, now go ahead and add you. We're going to kick that out for February the 1st. Okay, until next time, y'all already know, I love y'all. I'll see you tomorrow. Later. Mwah. Change that environment.